All right, I just share your a new slide, so you can download from the live chat or maybe from a Moodle. Okay. It is the X10 versions.
อาจารย์ครับ
ครับ
รบกวนเปิดกล้องให้ด้วยครับอาจารย์
เสียง
พอดี
คุ
ผ
ณ
ม
กล้องมากเลยอะคุณ
มี
วา
หน้า
ยุ
อาจารย์กับหน้าสไลด์คู่ไง
ครับ มันยังไม่ผมยังไม่เริ่มอะครับ
อ๋อ โอเคครับ
All right. I think most of you is coming. Enjoy our sessions today. ได้ยินไหมครับ
ได้ยินค่ะ
Okay. So good morning. And I need to turn on my camera because today is like my examination too. I had teaching evaluation. So the topic that I'm gonna talk today is about extracorporeal membrane oxygenations, which you may know the nickname like Ecmo. So previously we have talked about how to help people who has failing in heart and lung function, right? By using a mechanical circulatory support. And we have talked about IABP, which is the balloon that we put inside the aorta to preserve the heart workload and also improve the coronary perfusions. For this for this session today, we're gonna go to further step, and after that, we're gonna go to wet and another application on the mechanical circulatory support. So yesterday we have joined a seminar, right? And some of you have talked about that. That's a great great idea, and I think this is a good background for you to know the next topic, right? Anyway, I have tried to hands up to ask the question, but no one allowed me to talk with you. I don't know why. Okay, so all right, come back to our presentation today. Is might be a lot of content, but I don't think 90 slides should be done for today, but I'm trying to do as my best that I can. So I'm gonna start from the basic to advanced. No, it's all about basic, but it's just I will clear you step by step to know the concept of the Ecmo and how to manage the Ecmo from introduction to managing and complication that maybe need to concern, but it's just the concept. So if you want to know more about Ecmo, you need to further reading and practice on the Ecmo. Practice always make perfect, and Ecmo also. All right. If we have a time, I will talk about troubleshooting, which is the about last sessions. So today we have a learning objective. So I will introduction to you how what is the Ecmo and how to use the Ecmo in the recent recommendation. So then I will talk about a combination of Ecmo, which equipment that we use and a component of the Ecmo. Then I'm gonna classify it to main type, and also talk a little bit about how it's affect to our body, patient body. Then I will talk about monitoring and maintenance of Ecmo. Okay. For introductions, so what is Ecmo? Ecmo is coming from two terms: extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. firstly, extracorporeal that you know is something that outside the body. Membrane oxygenation is mean you have a membrane, artificial membrane to use to exchange the gas between that kind of membrane. So this one gonna help people who has suffer on cardiac and respiratory issue. So both of these organ system gonna support by this artificial circulation. So it can be easy to classify into two modes, like VV Ecmo and VA Ecmo. VV Ecmo gonna focus to respiratory failure, and VA Ecmo is gonna support both circulatory and respiratory function. So it can be said that it take over both. Seem like CPB, but this one gonna take more time to learning. Okay. Sorry. Some textbook gonna classify more than two modes, but actually it start from here. Basically, VV Ecmo and VA Ecmo. If you see, this is the real picture that I took about 15 years ago from my experience. Here is the ICU bed, and you can see this is quite compact circulation beside the bed here. You see this is the centrifugal pump, and the long cylinder here is called the Igmo oxygenator. Is quite different from the current design, but this is the just show you how complicated on this case, right? Okay. So I would like to talk a bit about how Ecmo became a modern in modern medicine. So it's actually parallel history with the CPB development. So in the first period, they're gonna start from the conceptual, as I have to show you in previous topic that I talked about, had a dog head and support by the outer circulations, until we have they have developed the bubble and this oxygenator in the previous way, and now developed the Harlem machine and then started open heart surgery. Anyway, at the time they didn't have a membrane oxygenation like. So if there are someone who cannot support by ventilator, or the ventilator cannot help people enough, they also put some case on a CPB, but move that into the ICU. However, because of there are no membrane oxygenator, they didn't call that this is an Ecmo, right? But because Ecmo is confirmed extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. So at that time, they're just using the term like prolonged support, prolonged CPB support, or something like that. Okay. It seemed like success, but most of the cases expiring. So it's sad story, but the best thing that they can do at that time is just have a prolonged support and wait and see. So here is the Igmo story. So that you see, this is the small baby, is the first successful in the baby case, but it's just let's say it's the second case that success in using the Ecmo. For a smaller table beside here, you can see another case, like 3 years before this baby case is first adult survival in Ecmo, which is ARDS or lung failure on Ecmo. Okay. Until now, we have organizations like called ELSO to support Ecmo education and so on. So you can join with these organizations and also follow them in the Twitter and also Facebook. Okay, and also you can see in the website. So I recommend you to follow them. They're gonna update in the Ecmo research. They're gonna update in the also a procedure, protocol, and guideline for the Ecmo, which is the strongest organization for Ecmo community. So here is the case. They had colleague from the 1990 until now, 2021. I didn't update much, but let's say that is before COVID-19 coming, and after that is rising. The trend gonna be progress like exponential, because in the early time, the Ecmo, most of the patient put in the Ecmo is gonna die. So they're gonna try up and excited to do the Ecmo. So everyone said, hey, you put on the devil machine or something like that. So it become famous after they have H1N1 pandemic. Do you know H1N1? And I'm not sure because it's quite 15 or almost 20 years ago, H1N1, and also MERS, and also something that affect to the lung function. So they convert the patient from the ventilator to a Ecmo. So that caused the Ecmo is rising up using in many countries around the world. After that, it's progress like increasing and if every year, and I believe that if I see if they show their the next two bar graph, it's gonna be higher than this. Okay. So how about the outcome? This is 2015. So you can see just half of them. About half of them is survive and come back to the home. So, but it's not very confirmed that 50% of this is come home with a normal life, right? So we're gonna talk today about that, okay? So the volume drive outcome, about 30 cases a year improve the outcome. Just a few center in Thailand do that, like 30 cases a year. From my experience, when I was a full-time perfectionist, I just do like a maximum as a less than 10 cases a year for my own experience. I do many center, like I do in the I did it in the Ramatibadi, and also I did it in Bamrungra Hospital, but it's, let's say it's less than 10, all right? And also Thammasat University, so hospital. So yeah, totally in my experience, less than 10 cases a year. Okay. Okay, let's talk about indications. Okay. All right, we have Ecmo that you may know, respiratory and cardiac Ecmo. So I'm gonna start from the respiratory Ecmo that you see. This is a list of the indications. So for the neonate and pediatric Ecmo, it's quite related to the congenital abnormality like diaphragmatic hernia. This is classic indication one. As aspirations from the meconium and pulmonary hypertension. This is a classic one. Okay. And this is the score that they has calculated to make a decision on the neonate. I don't deep in the detail much about that because this is like sometimes there are another factor to make a decision to put the patient on the Ecmo. For the small baby, we have a lot of things to think about. In the pediatric, also acute severe respiratory failure. We treat with high level setting of ventilator. That means you cannot support by conventional treatment. So if we force the people or force the patient to the conventional one, I mean put them in the ventilator. The ventilator can cause the side effect like barotrauma. I mean trauma from forcing the flow to the lung, and the lung much more injured. So we're gonna make the ventilator less and take over by using the Ecmo. Yes, and wait and see until the lung is come back. That is the main idea of the severe respiratory failure. We treat by high level of setting of ventilator. Another thing is that breakthrough transplantations. Yes, and also we have used it for support before surgery. Okay. For adult, it's quite the same. So transplant and another lung function, lung failure, and also cardiac and respiratory collapse, like caused from the airway and the pulmonary emboli. This is quite a lot for a pulmonary emboli. Like sometimes they have event thrombosis and it's falling to the lung, like it's gonna make a lung hypertension. So at the time, like treating to help people is that put them on the Ecmo before we further investigate and also further in treatment. I think Janissa is don't join with our class. Can someone ask to her any problem?มีคนลองถามเจนิสาไหมครับว่าเป็นยังไงหรือเปล่า Okay. So for the VV Ecmo, this is the conventional VV indication for ARDS. The ARDS is a classic indication because the first survival is coming from the ARDS case. So this is an algorithm, and you can review by yourself. So so you can see first this is a high setting on the ventilator, and after that they have measured the blood gas and also So this is a algorithm. So I don't just only show the example on this kind of indication. Okay, move on to the cardiac Ecmo. The cardiac Ecmo, I separate into two types, like neonate and pediatric, and also the adult. So the cardiac Ecmo gonna help people who has a circulatory failure, any circulatory failure that cannot help or cannot using the conventional CPR and the patient come back, or cannot support by using the inotropic or volume loading as the previous treatment. So it can be say it's gonna support for the shock and ALS and so on, and also support the people before coming to do the procedure, for the high risk procedure, before the cath lab, and also before the surgery. Another classic indication is called a cardiogenic shock. It seems like ABP, right? So if ABP with inotropic drug and any vasoconstrictor cannot help, so you're gonna think about the ECMO. And also difficulty to winning CPB, as we have talked last Monday, right? And also post-operative circulatory failure. You can win off the bypass, but unfortunately, after you send the patient back to the ICU, the situations gonna work like become a trouble. So you can think about the Ecmo, okay? And the candidate for the transplant are waiting for the wet or ventricular assist device. Let's say Ecmo is quite similar to the CPB, so the more centers familiar with that. Not all the center in Thailand have a ventricular assist device, same as the other country. So the experts for the wet need to wait as a queue, same as a transplantation, right? Something like that. So put a patient on Ecmo can be support to buy time. And also ECPR, which is Dr. Pia will talk about that on this Friday. Okay, so here is the algorithm to help people who have a cardiogenic shock. You can see you by yourself, like okay, this is the, oh my god, that's it, like link to what, link to the palliative care, transplantation, the destination. That mean you let the patient go to see the God. Okay, or you can win a decannulation patient back to their home safely. All right, so it's more clear in this cartoon. The Ecmo or the Ecmo can be used for the bleed, any bleed, like a bleed to make recovery, bleed to dissections, bleed to bleed. I mean bleed before using further mechanical circulatory support, like using WAD or using WAD and using a artificial heart. Okay, bridge transplant. This is a waiting list for transplantations. All right. Okay, however, there is some equation, like, so if the main idea is that if it's quite complicated, like patient irreversible, possible to cannot impossible came back. They can't they're gonna make a decision that is use or not use, something like that. Instead, organ failure. Advanced in people like advanced aging need to concern about that. So here is a contraindication and related contraindications. So yeah, any questions about indication and definition of the Ecmo?
not yet ค่ะ
อะไรนะครับ
ยังไม่มีคำถามค่ะ
Okay, all right. I'm gonna move on to the next step, right? So we know that the Ecmo is artificial circulation. So what is the component of it? Is it like a CPB or not? Let's see. So here is the cartoon diagram that show you how different between Ecmo and CPB. In the left hand side is the CPB, and here is the Ecmo. So you can see we cut off some complicated, like additional component, like we no need cardiac arrest, or so do need the cardiopulmonary delivery system. Also, we don't need the reservoir. We don't need the suction and vent. So cut it off. So you can see it's only as a cannula. Okay, as a cannula is only can be venous cannula, but latent cannula is gonna be either a venous or a arterial, because we have VV and VV Ecmo. So VV and VA Ecmo, right? So here is the much more simple, simplified circuit, like here, and it seems like easy, right? So if we put it in another diagram, as I usually do to teaching on the Ecmo and the CPB circuit, is that we're gonna start from the SS cannula, go to the pump, go to the oxygenator, and return back to the patients. It's in that we can add the gas and or the oxygen gas in and gas out here. So here is the direction of the flow from the SS or from the venous cannula, go to the pump. I'm gonna drive the blood, go to the oxygenator to make an exchange, and turn from the blue blood to the red blood, and return back to the venous or arterial site on the return cannula. Some textbook use the term like acid cannula is the only use like the venous cannula, or info like and some textbook or some article using the return cannula like arterial cannula or info cannula. It depends. But I just use the term asset and return. It's more makes sense for you. Okay, how different? Because the Ecmo is much more prolonged using compared with CPB, right? So the duration is much more longer. And the anticoagulant that's used in the Ecmo is lower than the CPB. Okay. No need to adding the potamine for the Ecmo because we need to extend the extracorporeal circulation. So we always slow adding the anticoagulations to the patients. Hemodilutions. The hemodilution is occur on the CPB because the Ecmo we train to maintain the patient like almost normal physiology status. Hypothermia. For the Ecmo, it's an option. So the CPB is the almost 99% hypothermia. Air blood interface. Do you know the core circuit and open circuit? So in the Ecmo is there are no need the venous reservoir, right? So it can be called all the circuits connect together, and there are no any part exposed to the air. So this is the core circuit. But in the CPB, we have a reservoir, which is hard shell, and the top of the reservoir is around some air exposed it with the circuit. So let's say the CPB is the open circuit. So the gravity siphons is affect much more for the CPB, but for the Ecmo is a closed circuit. So the flow direction is gonna mainly relate to the pump flow. Okay. Pulsatility. Okay, some Ecmo can apply the pulse tie, some PB also, but almost of them no use the pulse tie. Okay. Basic component, we're gonna start from the pump and its component. So you see this is the centrifugal pump display or control panel here. You can see adjustable node here. You can see RPM and RPM here. RPM represent how much you adjust the motor drive moving. And RPM is represent to the how much the flow go out from the pump. So it seems the same directions, like it's gonna relate to function, but sometimes for the centrifugal pump is not like it's not that it has other factor to disturb the output, like LPM. As I say, our RPM is something that we can adjustable, and LPM is the output. I will talk about that later. Or the same concept that we have talked about centrifugal pump in the previous course, I think. Okay, so you need a flow probe. Is here, and here is the oxygenator. Here is the heat exchanger, which is a smaller one, right? Okay. Centrifugal pump is a rotary pump that I told you. Fluid force is outside of the part of rotations, and go out with the pump outlet. So it's the same concept of the centrifugal pump or rotary pump as we talked in the previous concept, as I told you. Okay. So the pump flow gonna affect by the preload and afterload. And I'm gonna talk about that later in the um, monitoring section. So keep in mind that if we use the centrifugal pump in the Ecmo, okay. Move on to the oxygenator. The oxygenator is, oh, sorry. Oxygenator is pressing between pump and return cannula. So it can be said it's quite simple circuit, right? And the gas exchange device is here is oxygenator or artificial lung. It's kind of same as we use the oxygenator in the CPB, but how different? The different oxygenator type in CPB and Ecmo is that material. Okay. Previously, if you remember, the first case is come from Dr. Colombo. This one is the early design from the Colombo oxygenator. And the first successful Ecmo for the ARDS support from here. Here is the silicone rubber sheet like inside this container. And the brush gonna go into here and go out in another side. And the oxygen gonna fill in this sack like a plastic bag and wrap rotate back like a and put it in a container like this. So let's say there are only one phase for a exchange. So you're gonna need the huge oxygenator. That means you need more priming solution. That means you can cause more a hemodilution and also using a lot of blood transfusions. So the modern oxygenator for Ecmo convert this design out of market, but I have a example one in our department. A new design is similar to the oxygenator that we use in the CPB. Okay, inside of it we have a hollow fiber. A hollow fiber is it has like a tube here, and the hollow fiber wall gonna help easy to exchange. And also we have much more effective exchange area, right? So we need to reduce the size, and also we can reduce the effect of the hemodilutions. Does this make sense? Okay, but compare with the silicone, like here silicone. Okay, from the SME picture here, you can see that it's more dense or tight pore, so it's much more stronger. So it's gonna use for the long term. For the CPB is we use the microporous and polypropylene. So polypropylene is quite need to use just only the short term, because if we use in the long term, imagine that there are changing in their conditions, and also we use hypothermia. We use rewarm. After rewarm, the structure of the material gonna be changed. So after the material change, it's gonna make some fluid leak out to the gas part like this. Okay, we call this conditions is plasma leakage. That you see if we use the polypropylene hollow fiber. Here is the picture from the article. So you see is this a lot of like fluid leak out in the gas outlet from the gas outlet. So here is the harmful because the patient gonna go to the very life threatening condition. So the new design is gonna combine between benefit of the using hollow fiber because we use hollow fiber and we can reduce the hemodilution effect. They turn from polypropylene to the polymethyl ptenes. So it's much more tight in the micropore, and it can be reduce the risk of the plasma leakage. Okay, here is another example that can correspond the poor material, like it can be cracked because we have run for a long time, and it's gonna receive the much flow and pressure, right? So if there are crack on the hollow fiber, it's gonna make a oxygen leak out also. It's not only fluid leak out, and it's also can leak blood leak into to the gas outlet. Okay. Also, because the oxygenator we run for a long time, so blood contact with artificial surface like in the CPB, it can be activate the platelet function, coagulation function, and also complement system. So the response of that gonna make both thrombus and also inflammation. So you can see after running Ecmo, they have using water or sunlight flat out. You can see the some clot inside the circuit, and also you can see here during running the Ecmo from here to here, you can see it's much more darker zone inside of the Ecmo oxygenator here that can that show you see the thrombus embolism. It might be occur in this case. So we need to control by using the appropriate like heparinization. Okay. So the next part, we have talked about pump, we have talked about oxygenator, right? So the next part is the cannulations. I'm gonna talk about the cannula and then how to connect with the patient. So there are two options. Firstly, central cannulations. It's usually do in after the cardiac surgery. You see here is the CABG graph, right? So we can connect with the CPB cannula, convert take the CPB circuit out and replace by the an Ecmo circuit. But for some case like emergencies on cardiac surgical case, like in ICU, we are prefer to using the percutaneous or peripheral cannulation. Like this, They put the cannula into the groin to the FA or femoral artery, and another side is in the femoral vein here. Or another try is maybe from the jugular vein, carotid artery. It depends. Mostly using in the neonate and pediatric case because it's larger than the femoral. For the femoral one is an option for the young adult patients or adult patients. Okay. Here is the cannula type. Let's say the peripheral cannulations. Here is show you like this one is both one is a for VA Ecmo. It's maybe used for the femoral cannulations, and for VV Ecmo sometimes they use like a double lumen venous cannula like here. So you can see in one catheter there are two lumen, which is provide the blue blood and red blood in the same catheter. Okay. Okay, that is the cannulation site option. For the VA Ecmo, we start from the venous side, right? So go further in the arterial side. So you can see here we can start from the right atrium or RA. If the patient put the Ecmo after CPB, okay. So it might be femoral vein or subclavian vein or internal jugular vein for the small baby. And the return gonna be aorta for a post-cardiotomy or a cardiac surgery. Or for some another peripheral like femoral artery, axillary artery, or carotid artery. For the neonate or small babies, the options would be the internal jugular vein and back to the carotid artery. So here is the example of the central cannulation and peripheral cannulations, right? So that you see here, we have opened the chest, and here is the open on the groin here, and put the cannula inside of here. And for some people, it might be take the blood out of the neck cannulations, okay, internal jugular vein or subclavian vein, and go back to the carotid artery here. And it's possible to move the patients. Sometimes it's not much severe condition. If the patient put on the Ecmo and has a stable vital sign, you can allow the patients go to work because it may be help their mental status. Good heart gonna make a good body, right? So the video venous cannulation option is here. It might be from jugular femoral, okay, femoral, and jugular and dual lumen. Right. So here is the cartoon. Now you see this picture A gonna derive the blood from the IVC and get back to the subclavian vein here. and return to the RA. For some cases, maybe board gonna go to the insert where the IVC, but the tip is different very well. The lower one gonna be venous or SS cannula, and return cannula gonna be higher to allow the oxygenated blood go back to the heart and lung. Okay, here is the double lumen cannula for the VV Ecmo. I have some video to show you how double lumen is work. Okay, let me show you. Okay. This kind of cannula is come from Medtronic company. So it says that
the crescent jugular dual lumen catheter provides game-changing flow from intravenous design allows
so you see you're gonna see the side hole here, and end hole here. Also have the radio marker. So the marker gonna be using for recheck the positions. Okay, the info is gonna be nearly to tricuspid. And this is the using to fix the positions. Okay. To make sure that it's not a wrong size, you can have a color cap, like a cap in the red one is gonna be return cannula to connect with a return line. So for the idea to cannulation, if as we have talked about cylinder technique, it's used the same technique. They have also used the modified cylinder to insert the cannula. So you can see a small guideline here, and you can see the introduction. Like they have take off the dilator out. So the stylet gonna go to the vessel by passing by over the line here. So you can see this hole, and in hole here is gonna pressing on the IVC. So the blue bar gonna go to the circuit, right? For the exercise after the Ecmo has the exchange, it's gonna be back to the other side hole. And from here, the rate and oxygenated blood gonna go to the heart, and let's say this is the RV, and the RV gonna pump to the lung. And it's just the design that they show that it's good damage and good um, good fallback, good info like this. Okay, so to using the dual cannula like here is gonna be help because it's just only one asset, right? One insertion. For the procedure like here and here, you need to double cannulations. It take more time duration to start the Ecmo. So if the money is not a problem because it's quite expensive. I'm not sure how much it is, but it's still expensive. Um, the dual cannula is the best choice one. And for the COVID situation, the venous Ecmo is become the most life-threatening support for the patient. So the usings of the dual cannula like this is become much more. Okay. All right, we have talked about VP Ecmo and configurations to the patients. So the another thing that we need to know is how different between central cannulations and peripheral cannulation. So here is the summary of this advantage and disadvantage part of each of them. Think about the normal physiologics for directions. The direction from the LV gonna go to the support systemic circulation, where flow on the aorta, right? So if we cannulate the aortic cannula on the ascending aorta, same as the CPB, it's gonna be same the directions. However, if you use the peripheral cannulation like a femoral access, the blood gonna against the native flow, right? So it's not non physiologic dilation, something like that. So you can observe, you can see this by yourselves. Okay. And this is all of the Ecmo component that you see here, the Ecmo card, and here is the bed. So there are many complex complicated machine. So you have console, we have a gas vendor, pump, oxygenator. Sorry for my typo, and heater cooler here. From the heater cooler, you can see the display like a water level beside here, extra temperature that go out to the patient and setting temperature here. And for the control panel, you're gonna see butt flow and flow control. You see here sweep gas and also display for alarm. Okay. So now we know the main component, right? We know with the device that we using for to assembly to make up the circuit. So what is the step to start the Ecmo? Okay. from this diagram that I took from the Minnesota Ecmo team, like this. So you can see they have the Ecmo mobile, like here, a big tank with the Ecmo team. It might be a small ICU inside here. We don't know, but they just launched next month, I think. And here is the scene that talk about out of hospital issue. So after we have a cardiac arrest and start CPR, emergency department gonna notify, and they're gonna investigate for ECMO candidate or not. If there are any ECMO candidate, they're gonna notify the team, like who is the physicians gonna perform the cannulation, who is the perfectionist gonna prepare the ECMO circuit, who gonna be the ECMO nurse to take care after that. Okay, but this system show you is occur in the United States. In Thailand, it's quite the same. We also have the notify for the team and looking for how to transfer the patient on the Ecmo. So the cannulations in Thailand, just a few cases that we perform the out of hospital cannulations. Most of them we try to CPR and continue CPR and bring the patient to the hospital to make a ECMO cannulations. So you can see ECMO cannulations. After that, gonna occur like this. Many people in the team, like, and after that. In this example, they transfer patients to the cath lab to further investigation, and move to the ICU. Is similar, almost similar to this diagram in Thailand. Let's say we have a CPR, a call to the team for airport dial. Okay, so let's say Ecmo team always on call. Here is the Ecmo preparation card. So portable Ecmo card here is contain a lot of things like a tubing set, like a cannula, and also the cannulation set for the scrub net, and also for the Ecmo specialist or the perfectionist. Okay. After that, our law is that preparing the circuit, right? So we do need to know about Ecmo priming. A solution for priming is using the clear solution with normal electrolyte concentration, like a normal slide or linker solutions. For smaller neonate, is essential to using the blood pump. However, before we prime with the blood, we're gonna go to prime with the clear solution first to make sure that we has let almost the air out of the circuit. Imagine that the priming solution, priming process is quite important for the Ecmo because it is a core circuit, right? We cannot allow any air embolisms occur on the Ecmo support. So one of the problem is that we're not priming and deairing good enough. So when we put the Ecmo into the patient, it's gonna easy to put the bubble and cause air bubble to the patient also. After that, after you have prime, we're gonna start. We're gonna and connect with the cannula. We're gonna start the Ecmo. So I have the video to share you example on the Ecmo setting, like here from the outfit, which is the Australian Ecmo Center. Okay. So she showed the thing that's contained in the Ecmo card. All right. So you can see here the clear solutions. Okay. Just for an idea for you. So you no need to understand it now because it's quite complicated. If you have a chance to perform yourself in the real machine, you're gonna much more understand, and you can go back to repeat this video clip again. So for this time, we just show you how they priming on make a priming, right? So here is a cramp. Let's say sometimes it's much more easier than priming in CPB. For my opinion, Yes. I turn on the console. Okay. We're gonna play that, but with a different machine. Okay. So now she adjusts the flow and turn on the clamp and let it's automatic prime. It's almost automatic prime, but you need to recheck everything before connect to the patient again. So here is the gas line with the gas tank. So beside the Ecmo card, you can see the gas tank right here. Yes, just recheck off the air. Put it back into the holder. Can use the cam to help. You can see now she cramp on the blood inlet, right? So no outflow, and so now she gonna put the gel on the flow probe to measure the flow. Because the centrifugal pump cannot measure the flow by itself. It just only show the RPM, right? For measuring the output from the pump flow, you need to have a flow probe like here. Okay, put it into the pump motor console. You see, here is the pump probe. So now you can see the output like RPM here. Okay. Turn off alarm and set zero. Set zero, that means no flow. Set everything gonna be back to zero and ready to connect to the patients. Okay. Okay, you can see what this one is gonna be return line, and this one would be a access line or access and connect with the access line. Okay, ready to move the card to the patient. Okay. After that, we're gonna start running the pump. Firstly, we're gonna start by slowly. Okay, before we start, before we start, we have to make sure that it's the heparin adding to the patients, like the patient gonna give in the heparin to make a cannulation, same as the CPB, but is smaller dose compared with the CPB, right? So after the ACT rising up, it's maybe 150. You can read, or is a 200. The physician's gonna perform the cannulation, and after that connect two circuits together. I mean a native circuit and an Ecmo circuit. So the blood flow gonna start with the different VA Ecmo and VV Ecmo. You see, VV Ecmo is maybe a bit more higher than using in the VA Ecmo. Sorry for my wrong in the slide. So for the VV Ecmo, it would be 120. Pediatric would be 80 to 100, and the next is adult. In adult, it would be 60 to 80. So add adult here. Okay, and the gas flow gonna start from the half and half to 1 lit per minute. So after that, you need to recheck the APTT or ACT to maintain is 1.5 to 2.5 times as a normal, as a baseline. So here is the Ecmo setup and starting the Ecmo. So before we move on to the next session, shall any questions about that?
Is there any case with patient with ECMO and using the ventilator at the same time? Is there any case like that?
Sure. The patient with the ECMO, we just only reduce support from the ventilator. That means we need to reduce the risk from the ventilator complications. You can use both. They always use both machine.
All
Is
right.
it clear?
Thank you.
But balance because now Ecmo can be take the function on the oxygenations, so you can reduce the ventilator setting, and after that the bowel trauma or any trauma that can cause from the ventilator gonna reduce also.
Thank
Right.
you, อาจารย์
ครับผม
But in our fourth year, we are going to like practice with ECMO as well, or this is like outside of our major.
Oh no, we necessary to practice on ECMO preparations. It is our role.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, อาจารย์
So if you are the normal perfectionist, you just run CPB. But if you want to be a special perfectionist, you're gonna know about ECMO. Okay. Because
Okay.
the Ecmo principle is quite similar to the CPB. So the best person who can perform the Ecmo, definitely that perfectionist. Okay. Any question? All right. If you understand the CPB well, it's gonna be make you understand Ecmo easy. Okay, but just take more long time, and physiology has different. All right, before we go to the further step, shall we have a break for 15 minutes and we go back in the 10:30. Okay. Break for 15 minutes. Okay.
โอเคค่ะอาจารย์
All right. Are you come back? Do you come back now? Yeah. Okay, let me start to the next sessions because we have a lot of content today. Okay, I would like to show you an idea for the physiology during Ecmo. This is mentioned on the three part. Firstly, it says the oxygen delivery and exchange. Secondly, is the flow, and third is the pressure. So okay, because the Ecmo functions for oxygen delivery and provide the flow and pressure to the patients, but is still have the hemodilution and hyperinization. So let's say the Ecmo is quite the same that using the CPB. Okay, but Ecmo has several medications as device support. So we still have the ventilator. We still have dialysis machines for some patients. We still have IABP for some times, and we have a lot of condo of these drug support for the patients. I will show you later in the next slides. So firstly, we're gonna talk about gas exchange and oxygen delivery during the Ecmo. So back to the oxygen delivery equations again. So here is the concept of VA Ecmo. VA Ecmo supported by the cardiac output gonna represent by native cardiac output combined with the pump flow, so, but mainly in the pump flow. So if you increase the cardiac output or the pump flow, it's gonna relate to increasing the oxygen delivery. Also, another factor is the hemoglobin or HB here. So if you're giving the transfusion or maintain the hemoglobin or hematocrit in the appropriate level, it's going to be helped to maintain oxygen delivery also. And the pump flow gonna present relate to the venous saturation also. If we increase the flow, it's gonna increase the venous. It's gonna increase the oxygen saturations also. So this is the factor that affect to oxygen delivery in VA more. Just the same, from the same equations, we're gonna compare with that with VV Ecmo. So now imagine that the VV Ecmo put the catheter on the venous to venous side, right? So it's not support to the heart pumping and circulations. Let's say it's still or divide the blood from the patient, drain the blood from the patient from the venous side and give the blood back to the venous side. So the oxygenation or gas exchange occur before the blood go back to the native lung. So we have artificial lung and we have a native lung. That means the blood in the lung is already almost oxygenated blood. So the native lung and pump flow gonna relate to the SA. SaO2 or so. So if we want to increase the exchange and SaO2, we're gonna improve the lung functions like lung recovery, and also we also increase the pump flow. And in terms of cardiac output, so now there are no any support to the heart pumping, right? So the native cardiac output is still main function for pumping the blood go to the systemic. At the same, we had to maintain the hematocrit also. Okay, here is the how different between VV Ecmo and VV Ecmo. All right. So go back to the centrifugal pump. I'm gonna talk about the flow because the Ecmo flow is come from the pump flow. So if we reduce the pump flow, it's gonna reduce the cardiac output also. So the flow gonna relate to the RPM, preload, and afterload, as we have discussed early in the previous course. Also, the flow can be provide the pressure. There are 4 main pressures in the Ecmo circuit. Firstly, is called preload pressure or pump inlet pressure. This is the pressure from the access cannula to the pump. Before the pump is trained to be a negative pressure, like a pressure gauge cartoon that I show you here. The neck pressure is in between the pump and oxygenator. So imagine it's just come out of the pump, so it's much more increased. So let's say this one is gonna be positive pressure. And after pass through the oxygenator, the pressure gonna be dropped a little bit, but still in the positive side. So let's say this is the distal to return cannula pressure is a post oxygenator pressure is a little bit lower than previous one, with lower than a pre-oxygen pressure one. And the difference between pre and post membrane pressure, we're gonna use that to observe how effective the flow through the oxygenator. Let's say if there are some obstruction, the gradient gonna be changed. The factors can be obstruction is mainly about clotting in the oxygen membrane. So oxygenator membrane, if there are clot, that clot gonna obstruct the pump flow, right? So the gradient gonna change because the pump need much more higher pressure drive the bags to go to this circuit. So the pressure gonna be higher than this, and even that is drive the bag out, it cannot pass. So the pressure or post membrane pressure gonna drop a little bit, gonna drop. So this one gonna be tend to high, and this one gonna be tend to drop. So the gradient is gonna be changed. Okay. Okay. Again, this is summarized to compare between VV Ecmo and VV Ecmo. That you see here, this is the all everything that I have talked about to Ecmo. So you can review it yourself. Okay. Okay, that is more clear for you to see the VV Ecmo in this cartoon diagram. So we have a diagram here. So from the Ecmo here, Ecmo is VV Ecmo is parallel with the lung. Let's say the lung and oxygenator here. You have exchange before you give the blood back to the lung. So let's say the oxygenated blood still go to the lung. If you reduce to support by the Ecmo, that means you exchange in the sweep gas setting. Let's say during the weaning, you need to make sure that the native lung has a recover on the function. Okay. However, this lung gonna support by a ventilator, but less setting than the usual. Okay. So here is the central AVA Ecmo. So that I have told you, it is the physiological flow. So the native circulation is from here, from heart to the lower body. So here you cannulate on the ascending aorta. So it's gonna be parallel like this. Yes, it's same directions, same direction. But the retrograde flow can be occur in the peripheral that access the blood inflow to the femoral artery like this. So here now we have a native body here, like here. So the lower body, let's say this one would be a femoral vein, right? So from the Ecmo, it's gonna be support, but it's against to the heart pump directions. So the blood gonna meet here. So for some patients who has the pumping well, but cannot go to the upper body much like this. So I will show you later in this condition. But keep in mind that is a retrograde flow for the femoral Ecmo. So we have some idea about physiologics. Let's say it's about the flow, is pressure, oxygenations. So we're gonna move on to the next session. It's gonna be monitoring. So how to care the patient on the Ecmo. So here is the monitoring that mainly a list from my own opinion and experience on that. So sure, we still have the right hand side as other people who staying on the ICU. So we have the heart rate, we have the SO2, we have a systolic blood pressure, we have mean arterial pressure. Okay, CVP. Okay, so sometimes we just only acceptable range because now the Ecmo in is the much more critical condition. So just only maintain the the body maintain passion alive in the minimum level until they can come back by themselves like that. So another thing that we need to concern is that we need to investigate the bad gas analysis every 4 or every 12 hours. More often than other case, because some case is just once a day, sometimes like something like that. We has assessment in every hour, like vascular observes, like limb perfusions. I will talk to you later about limb perfusions. Urine output to observe the perfusions, core temperature, to adjust the heater cooler and heat transfer during Ecmo from the Ecmo circuit. And ventilation observation, you need to compare between hour and hour, any progressings on the ventilation. And neurological support assessment, both ventilation and neurological might be nurse role. So we gonna talk with our team. A patient positioning is quite, let's say, it's quite harmful, but you can do that. But you need to call your team to reposition for the patients. Have you ever heard a bed sore for the patient? Like if a patient laying on the bed for a long time, it maybe can cause the pressure sore wound in their back. So sometimes we need to reposition for the patient, but every position can be disturb the Ecmo flow. So some patient who has unstable, very unstable, is might be because the cardiac arrest or right thickening issue. So you need the you need to call another people who help you to reposition the patients, and your role is carrying on the Ecmo circuit. Okay. When you reach positions, firstly, it may be disturb on the flow and make a cannula position change and disturb to the flow. Okay. Other monitoring. Okay. Here is the detail, as I said above. From above, rhythm you can observe from the EKG to observe the pulsings and any arrhythmia. Okay, mean arterial pressure to see the adequate flow or not. If the mean arterial pressure drop, you're gonna try to increase the flow first. Okay, Heart high, sometimes if the heart a little bit come back, it's gonna be a little bit. Now it's in the Ecmo is still pumping. So if the pulse pressure is like quite weak, you need to investigate that and call to the team to help to investigate. And the flow, your role is mainly on the flow. So here is the low flow condition that I'm gonna show you in the YouTube. So the low, because our flow relate to the circuit component, right? The the drainage and the output relate to the flow. So if the drainage is quite poor, it's gonna affect to the output also. Okay, I will show you what's happened in the Ecmo, this kind of Ecmo circuit. Okay. Here is the V0 line, here is the arterial line, because this is the full flow. And it seems like this one is quite darker than this one. So that you see that it's shaking on the V0 line. Okay, just for example, we call this kind of condition is the shattering. Okay, a shattering is mean the cannula tip attached on the vessel wall and cannot drain. So after that, it's gonna make because at vena site there are a lot of the negative pressure, right? So it's attached and sucking on the vessel wall is gonna be cause the tubing line shaking. So we call this condition like a venous shattering. So you need to observe and you need to reduce just a little bit flow to reduce the negative pressure. And after we reduce the negative pressure, it's gonna automatically flow come out of the vessel wall. So that is the shattering. So it can be caused the inadequate preload. Yes. Another thing is that the hemolysis and obstruction doesn't make sense, right? And excessive afterload, that means you have some obstruction on the another side of the pump. Let's say it is the outflow or outlet. It may be from the clot obstructions, blood thrombus, or any SVR or systemic vascular resistance. If it's lysing, so imagine that the pump flow cannot flow into the into the circulation, right? So it can cause the flow down. Okay, and another factor is that you need to adjust RPM. So let's see the RPM in the record chart. So if in the record sheet have the change in the RPM, it might be because the flow drop down. So you can see someone has decreased my flow. You're gonna talk with your team, your doctor. Is that your order? Because I'm not doing it by myself. So sometimes they decrease the blood flow because they just want to see how the patient is recover or not. But they forget to increase back. So you need to recheck as you are the perfusionist or as Igmo specialist. Okay, for the gas exchange, this is the one of the main issue. So mainly we have observed the gas exchange by using the arterial blood gas. I will talk about it later. Okay, so the same as using in the CPP, the gas exchange controlled by sweep gas and FiO2. Okay, lactate level, and also this is the perfusion status. Another thing that's trying to use more in this current practice is that we use the distal limb perfusions, or the distal limb ischemia should be observed every hour. So imagine if you access the femoral artery, it's gonna provide the blood to the patient, right? But another side is obstruct the blood go to your toe, your foot. So that can cause the ischemic event for the distal part of the limb. So to do that, some people put another catheter provide blood into 2 directions. I will show you later about that. Some people only observe. So how harmful of this condition if is loss of the blood supply to the distal limb. So it's gonna be cause the limb gangrene, and some patient need to amputation mean cut the leg out. So to save the whole body, because the gangrene gonna release some cytokine and a bad mediator back to the systemic, and can cause the worst event. So the main complications sometimes is related to the distal limb ischemia, like this. Another thing you need to observe the ACT or any bleeding time parameter, and temperature. Yes. Okay, here is the blood gas that I have mentioned, because this is the main monitoring that we use in the Ecmo. Venous blood gas can be measured in the line before the oxygenator, and the arterial blood gas is the post oxygenator circuit. So for the venous blood gas, we use to assess the oxygen delivery in the VA Ecmo and maintain SpO2 to observe the perfusion above 70. For the VV Ecmo, we need to use to observe the recirculations. I will talk about recirculation in VV Ecmo later. And SpO2 may be a bit higher than VA Ecmo, because we need to send this blood back to the native lung to help the lung, because the lung is quite failed in action now, right? And also we need to observe the venous blood gas before during the weaning of the pump, weaning of the Ecmo. In terms of arterial blood gas or the blood gas analysis from the already exchanged, normally we observe for the oxygenator functions. So to investigate the membrane function is still working. So arterial blood gas is going to show you the parameter like this, and observe the we need to observe the how tend to increase the PCO2 and decreasing the PO2. That means it may be related to the malfunction of the oxygenator. So maybe caused from the clot or plasma or a water accumulate in the in the oxygenator. Let's say we run for the long time for the long time. There are some water leak out and much more humid in the oxygenator can cause the water and plasma accumulation surrounding the oxygenator membrane. So we need to observe about that. Okay. And another thing that we need to always observe is that how prevalent management ECS parameter that we use is that ACT, which is the 1.5 to 2.2 above the baseline, as we use the HPTT also. So the patient gonna given bolus heparin as the dose as here as a time of cannulation, and after that they're gonna continue as drip as a protocol to maintain ACT and monitor every hours or every 2 hours. It depends. In the early or initial step, we need to much more attention on this response. I mean, heparinization response, right? So we may need to much more often on the monitoring ACT. But for the day after that, we can measure like 2 hours, 4 hours. It depend on your protocol, on your hospital protocol. So another thing you need to looking for the coagulation impairment, like a clot or any bleeding. Okay. So here it shows you the ACT machine. Here it shows you the clot inside the centrifugal pump. All right. Look like scary. As I show you the pump and flow, and the volume. So here is the related about the pump preload and pump afterload. So reducing in the preloads, that means reducing the pump flow. So less volume is in the, it means less volume out. So the hypovolemic status from the patients that can cause less volume into back to the Ecmo also. Another thing is maybe caused from obstruction, any obstruction. So obstruction in the blue part here gonna because the reducing in the preload and reducing the pump output. Also, if you still maintain the pump flow in the same flow setting, but the flow cannot go ahead, like obstruction in this part, it's gonna also reduce the pump flow, like obstruction increase the resistance. If you're using the smaller cannula, or the patient SVR is lysing. So the patient SVR lysing is mean that we put much more resistance on this side, so the pump flow is quite low. Also, the battery capacity is also affected. If the battery capacity is too high, it's because the poor perfusion, something like that. So you need to appropriate level, like around 30% of hematocrit. look like complicated like this. So you can see the patient is here, right? So okay, we're gonna start from the component first. That you see here is the Ecmo card. Here is the oxygenator, which is the exchange, right? Here is the heat cooler, which is a support to maintain the temperature. Here is the centrifugal pump, which is the cold chef and a mass flow like this, and connect to the patient to the cannula. If you see, this is the cannula, both in the both in the femoral with femoral artery and femoral vein one. If you see that there is another smaller cannula, smaller extension line here, connect with the arterial side, arterial line. This kind of cannula gonna provide the blood support to the distal part, as I mentioned earlier. So imagine that we have drive the blood go to the descending aorta here. Another side, if we have no this catheter, it's gonna obstruct, right? It's gonna obstruct flow. So it's possible to make a limb ischemia. To preserve that, to preserve the limb perfusion, we need another catheter to provide the flow into this direction. That is the concept. Another thing, you can see the condo of the drug support, many drug support, and the white on side here is the same. This patient also has hemodialysis to maintain the renal function also. Ventilator also support here. That you see, ventilator still support here. Okay. Here is the idea of the complicated case like Ecmo. Okay. Look fun or look serious. Much more faithful, right? This is more clear about how the assessment of patients is combined with the heart, with the foam, and the perfusion. This is linked together, right? If you are not, even that you are not the perfusionist to perform the Ecmo case, you may be the sonographer to avoid to using your machine to investigate the heart function. So at least you need to know how the Ecmo works. So you're gonna help people in your way. And so this one is some kind of the ventilator setting. So here, this one is the ECG, right? And this one is the arterial line pressure, and another right hand side. This one near infrared is that using for investigate the brain perfusions. And sometimes some case they use the sublingual microcirculation of cells. This one and they use to investigate how the perfusion go to the smaller circulation, like a microcirculation. So a sublingual circulation can be represent the microcirculation sometimes. And echo assessment. If you are the sonographer, maybe you learn this one. Clinical assessment. the neurological brain status always observed by your Ecmo team and nursing team. Urine output, you can see urine color. Are there any hemolysis or not? Are there any reduce in urine output or not? If that relate to the malperfusion on the Ecmo. And another thing, capillary refill time. It seems like using for a sublingual microcirculation flow, because this one is gonna represent the vital organ or a internal organ perfusion. This one is gonna make sure that it's all the organ flow or perfusion are supported by Ecmo. Imagine that if there are no refill for the capillary time, like in the finger or in the toe, it can be estimated that each outer microcirculation need more perfusion. Also, cold and cramping skin, especially for the limb in limb perfusion. So you can see the color change in here. That's maybe related to beginning of the gangrene process is start. So you need to notify your physicians. Okay. So again, for the machine monitoring, you need to observe the pump flow. You need to observe the RPM, and also maintain the temperature. Also observe in the sweet gas. And here is the raw antibody in the early flowchart for the recording the Ecmo function. So here is the maintain for each day and each shift, like hour and hour, like at midnight, 4 a.m., 8 a.m., something like that. That's every 4 hours. So you can see the checklist. That is the thing that we always do. So after the heart recover and after we happy with the vital signs come back, we can investigate by using the echocardiogram, as I said to you. And after we can increase supporting ventilator, we can go ahead with the weaning of the Ecmo. So here is the protocol that using for the weaning Ecmo from the cardiogenic shock. So you can see we need to investigate hemodynamic and echocardiogram. So if it's success, we're gonna go further to maintain weaning by slowing decrease the flow, the Ecmo flow, and offset and slowly. So also as a step to the weaning, I'm gonna talk in the next slides. So if it's failure, we need to consider to using another machine. Okay, like I mean mechanical support like a WAT or any other machine, or sometimes need to list for candidate for the heart transplantation, or sometimes we need to buy time for support their family. yes, we sometimes we need to consider to terminate that patients. Okay, that's sad story, but that's true. Okay. Okay, winning trial. Just example. Each hospital protocol they have their own protocol. So for the VA Ecmo, we gonna winning down by lowering a lower Ecmo flow. So reduce flow, like a small, like a just only small number every hours and observe. The weaning process maybe take time for a day or 2 or 3 days. It depends on the patient condition. Imagine that now we have support the patient like this. If the patient status like this, so we reduce the support and gain up their own hemodynamic and vital sign status can be maintained by the cell or any small support from the conventional treatment. So after we reduce, if the patient come a little bit come back, we can reduce more and come back, reduce more until we reduce support about 10%. It's gonna be said that it's safe for withdrawal the Ecmo and off the Ecmo and decannulations. But for the VV Ecmo, we train to reducing the sweep gas and FiO2 because the main function of VV Ecmo is only in the exchange the gas. So after sweep gas flow is 0, it can be maintained and the patient maintain the oxygenation on the acceptable ventilator setting support. So we can do the cannulation, the cannulation in the further step, right? Are there any questions about this?
อาจารย์
ครับ
for examination, do we need to remember the normal values of the hemodynamic parameters?
It's not exactly the number, but you need to know like main principle of Ecmo, how different between both Ecmo and what the thing that you need to concern, like to monitoring the Ecmo, like that. Is it clear?
Yeah, a kind of.
like what is the most important thing that you need to concern, like what is the main complications can be occur, why this cause of that complication, something like that.
For example, suppose if we are doing the weaning process, right? If we are weaning the Ecmo, right? So
Yep.
Before weaning, we have to make sure that the hemodynamic of patient is stable. So
Yeah.
for example, suppose if the mean arterial pressure is above 65 millimeter of mercury.
No, I didn't put the number on the question much, but just like a concept, like if it's stable is stable is normal value. So does it make sense that you need to know what kind of the normal value, right? So I don't need to say it again.
Okay, Achan, I got it. Thank you so much.
just principle because it's huge topic. So at least today you know the main principle, but for some detail you need to review by yourself. Okay, there are just only about 5 to 10 questions for the Ecmo questions for the Ecmo and ECLS section. So let's say this is quite limit to deep in detail. So principle is to check your understanding on the Ecmo. That's it my aim. That's it my aim. Okay, we're gonna move on to the any question from each other? มีคำถามอีกไหมครับ Sorry. Okay, we're gonna move on to the complication. That is a thing that we need to concern. The complication mainly directly on the vascular, the brain, the renal, the same as the CPB, right? However, the Ecmo is take time more than using in the CPB. The patient put it in the artificial circulation longer than the CPB, so the systemic inflammatory response must be more observed than using in CPB. So it might be affected more in the CPB, and also because the patients had a shock or it seemed like a nightmare in their life, and also their family, because it's quite stressful. So the quality of life after that is need to concern also. Sometimes they can't back like normal. Like sometimes they still have brain conditions. Sometimes they has renal failure conditions. Sometimes they lost their leg. Life quality has been changed. Also in the small patient, like a neonate case, sometimes patient alive, but when they come back, they may be faced with the undeveloped neurological status. So it's a story, but at least we have saved their life. So go on in the Ecmo. And here is the VA Ecmo complications that is related to the main category, the main four issue. So here is the how to maintain and monitor. Even that it's possible to face with the serious complication, but we still need to bear in mind that we will do everything that as the best. So here is the complication and how to monitoring to protect that kind of complication. So you can see it's yourself like breathing might be related to the using the coagulation parameter observed. Neurological going to be related to the brain function like EEG, like near, like everything, and like biomarker and vascular complications may be related to the limb and injury on the vascular flow, and infections is quite more serious. You need to observe on the sometimes we need to send a blood smear, sometimes we need to swab the patients to observe the infection status. So it's not easy to protect that whole issue because it's not a usual condition. And the patient put it in another extra device, another extra condition. So it's likely trauma to the patient. Blood exposed to the artificial organ. So the infection is quite easy to go up. So it is. So here is another diagram that same as the previous one, but adding in the mechanical complication that maybe occur. So in your law, you need to concern about this. Okay. Firstly, I would like to focus on the systemic and hematologic effects from the Ecmo, because now we have the artificial circuits and the artificial surface, right? As the same as a CPB circuit, it can be activated into the three main system. So the same. And finally, it's gonna cause the inflammatory response. Like this is a consequence. If you want to deep in detail of this, you gotta further see in this paper. But just show you the consequence of the blood contact with the artificial surface. Also, we have support by both circuit and systemic. Like you also have the patient has underlying disease before putting on the Ecmo. Have a lot of dark, and the liver is much more workload because we have a lot of drug, we have a lot of the different flow. Systemic as inflammatory response also is the same as the other extracorporeal circuit. And the whole circuits contact with the foreign or artificial surface, so it can cause the blood function is impaired. Oxygen and oxygenator and pump also. Okay, here is the complication that I have mentioned about the limb trained to be ischemia. So this one is before putting the small catheter to supply the blood to the distal part. So here is the catheter that they use to support the distal perfusion. Here is the main Ecmo arterial cannula. Here is the venous cannula. So after before that you see the before putting the let's say a distal catheter here. You can see the color of skin had been changed. That refer to the ischemic event may be occur. So if we touch into the patient leg and toe here, it's gonna be much colder than another side. So it's referred that it's represent that there are no any blood support to this kind of organ. So after that, the process of cell swelling and process of apoptosis is gonna be start. After the cell swelling, if we cannot help them on time, the leg gonna gonna go to the necrosis and gangrene in the neck process. If we observe well, and we can put another distal perfusion catheter, we can save the leg. So you can see this one is a successful distal perfusion support. So the color is going to turn back to the normal, almost normal. But anyway, sometimes is we let the leg like lack of the force blood support for a long time. If we put the distal perfusion back again, imagine that it already have a little ischemic event occur, right? So it's gonna be also have a reperfusion injury that you can see here that is the swelling in the skin, and this kind of the come from the overflow of the blood from the catheter. Okay. So again, I would like to show you this is another improvements of the distal perfusion support. In small baby, we have a lot of catheter. Even that you are access the return cannula into the neck regions, there still have the another a catheter like a arterial line catheter that may be put it into the femoral vein, femoral artery. So it's just small catheter, but it's disturbs the flow to the distal part. It's also a perfusion may be trained to poor, and you can see the Cannulations. After that, you support to another catheter. It's going to be returned. So imagine that if we let the leg gangrene and we make an amputation on this baby, what's going on after the after he go back home. So the quality of life is gonna be changed as a normal people, right? Another thing we need to concern if it's related to the reticular flow from the VA Ecmo. As I told you in early, we have put the catheter into the femoral arterial line here. But in the first in the few day in the first periods, the heart still like a pumpless, like a weekly to pump, right? So the Ecmo can be support the whole body, but after that the heart gonna become recover and pump more power. The flow gonna against between the heart flow and the Ecmo. So you can see here, if the lung is not come back well, the lower part of the body that's still support from the Ecmo, but the upper part of the body that you see here is support from the heart pumping because the flow, the Ecmo flow cannot fight with the heart flow. So the oxygenated blood gonna go to the upper part of the body. So if we observe the patient's skin, you can see the different zone of the skin color, of the skin color. So the lower part tend to much more like a red color, but in the upper part gonna become like a lack of the perfusion. So the deoxygenated blood gonna go to anywhere, like to the arms, to the head. So we call this kind of condition is the Harlequin syndrome. So have blue and red color in the same body. The patient who has the conditions gonna have a brain complication because now the brain lack of the perfusion. In my experience, I have one guys who has the drowning, like he has an accident with a jet ski and drowning, and after that he has ARDS. At that time, we have no idea much about VV Ecmo. We put him into the VA Ecmo. Okay, for the first 4 or 5 days, the Ecmo is run like a good function. So it can be support the whole body. But after that, we found as a different skins on here, and we decided as how to come back. But it's like take time for a few days after that. So we try to support the by using a conventional ventilator. Unfortunately, after that, we found that he has a brain swelling and a brain dead after that. So that's sorry for that guy. So we know a Harlequin syndrome is just the issue in this 5 or to 10 years. Just in the current topic here. So in the current practice, we tend to put the VV Ecmo a lot in the patient who primarily caused from the respiratory cause. So that is the Harlequin or a not and west, not and west syndrome here. So you can see another issue or a discussion on the paper. Okay. However, to using the VV Ecmo, most of the conventional setting before the dual cannula coming, or some limitation for the hospital, some hospital, they tend to use the put the venous cannula inside the femoral vein here and get back the oxygenated blood to the eye, as we see here. However, be careful about the tip of both cannula. So we can call this condition the recirculations on the Ecmo. It means if the blood go to the Ecmo circuit and come back to the patients again, but that that flow go directly to the venous cannula tip is gonna be cause the blood go out from here, go to here again. It's called recirculation. So we need to check the positions and also check the arterial blood gas to recheck the recirculation is it occur on the VVFO or not. Imagine that if there are mixing with the blood like here, so you can see the oxygenated blood cannot go out to the lung, right? So it cannot support any organ, so it cannot help anything. So this is the one thing that need to concern for the PV Ecmo for the groin and femoral and neck variations as such. So let's say that the dual cannula can be held this issue. Okay. A complication can be classified into the mechanical relate and patient relate. Due to the ELSA legislations. So this is the they collect the number and classify the complication in each issue to main type like this. So you can see the main is that oxygenator failure, rupture, or something like that. The patient relate gonna focus on the 4 main category, 4 main issue that I have talked in early, like vascular, brain infections. Okay, that's it all for the complication. Any questions about that?มีคำถามไหมครับ Someone gonna leave. I have leave the classroom. I'm gonna recheck again. Okay. If not, we're gonna go to the next sessions. This is an extra sessions because if we have a chance to like hand-on, it's more make you more understand and troubleshooting gonna make you like much more easier like this. So I took it on my I took it from my previous presentation that I have present to the Ecmo team. So I would like to focusing on the mechanical troubleshooting because it's gonna relate to your low, like a perfectionist or a specialist low. So the mechanical troubleshooting is gonna relate to the in the circuit, oxygenator failure and pump malfunctions. So let's say I gonna use this simple circuit here, like the access pump, oxygenator, and return. So you're gonna see here the direction and also the pressure gauge here. So if the air in the circuit occur, it may be occur from the exit line to the oxygenator. So the air may be trapping because this part, it is the negative pressure, right? It's easy to trap into the circuit. But it's from, it may be from the patient itself, from the RA through the IV fluid line. That means if the nurse change the slide back and forgot to cramp, it might be less the air into the circuit, into the RA and then go to the circuit. Venous cannula positions, venous cannula cracking or leakage, anything. Connector between cannula and the circuit, and venous pressure line. Yeah. So, and this is the course of the air access in the negative part. So for the inside the oxygenator, this might be from this. We had not priming and de-airing enough. This may be from the cracking on the oxygenator and membrane. It may be from the you has just too much sweet gas flow and so on. From the pump head, and also this one is the air stuck in the oxygenator, or maybe before, because you has draw the blood from a sample pot and you has not de-airing well. This can be because the air trapping to the oxygenator. For this kind of air in line, I mean line before go back to the patient, right? So we can cramp on the line. The line come in and out to avoid, to protect the air come back to the patients. So then replacement the fluid, because we have the lure, we can put another TV and put the air into the put the solution into the circuit, and then let the air out from the any port that attached with the T-way stopcock. So let's say that you need to understand your a circuit well. Okay. Also, if the air trap on the return line and the patients, that means it's quite much more critical situation now. So here is the reasons that the air can get to the patients. So now manager, previously you can do it by yourself, but this one you cannot do that because now is the air gonna go to the patient. So firstly, immediately you need to clamp on the circuit first to protect much more air, and after that patient could be head down and ventilate the patient to maintain cardiac output, because now the Ecmo cannot help. And then you're gonna start to replace the fluid and de-airing from the return cannula. Then recheck the circuits and also recheck the patient. If we sure that we already de-airing well, we can go back to the Ecmo again. You need to practice like an F1 team. something like that. Here is the cause and the management of the oxygenator failure. So you can do review yourself. The oxygenator failure is quite have a time to investigate on the oxygenator function, and also talk with the team, compare with the cost and benefit for the changing the oxygenator or changing the changing the circuit. Same as the pump. Here is the malfunctions and management, cost and management on the pump. So because sometimes if if it's like a failure both the pump and the oxygenator, if it nearly to win, we may be considered to win, like okay, you're gonna go ahead winning because now we're gonna stop soon. But if it still need longer support, we need to change whole circuit. Here is the changing the whole circuit. I will talk to you later. Another thing that the troubleshooting can be occur from the electrical failure, leakage, clot, and so on, the same as the oxygenator. So here is the how to exchange or replace a new circuit one. Just clamp on the asset cannula and put the new one, replace. Easy, seem like easy, but you need to call your team to support, replace the new circuit and stand by for the CPR, because we need to do quickly as we can. So at the time that we have stopped the pump, there are no support to the patient. So here is the item that we need to prepare to beside the Ecmo card, because troubleshooting is the unpredictable sometimes. Okay. Any question about troubleshooting and previously?มีคำถามไหมครับ? All right, if not, here is a summary. So today we have talked about Ecmo. What is the Ecmo? To support the lung and heart. Which side of the Ecmo cannulation? Maybe central, maybe the peripheral mode of the Ecmo, VV Ecmo and VA Ecmo. And monitoring, management, and complication may be related to the machine and our patients. So I think you have the concept idea about Ecmo. So the thing that I want to tell you that the Ecmo is the thing that not only critical in for the patient, but also make a straightful for their family and the team also. So we have used a lot of energy to help people on the Ecmo. And here is the slide that show you the first success Ecmo for the neonate Ecmo. Here is the baby here, and when she go up, she take a photo with her physicians. His name is Dr. Bartlett, who is still alive, and who is the name of the god of the Ecmo. And when he was on the Ecmo, and he alive, and she alive, I mean the patient, sorry. When she on the Ecmo in the ward, the nurse named her as the Esperanza. The Esperanza is this Spanish word meaning hope. So let's say the Ecmo is the hope. It's unpredictable sometimes, but it's the hope. So we have a lot of the evidence support and proof that this kind of procedure can be helped some people, even that the survival rate around half and half. So another case report I show you here, Downing patients has a prolonged support by the Ecmo for almost 4 months. Let's say if in the reality, we gonna give up by a week after the patient has the serious condition, right? But prolonged support prove that it might be help the patients, even that the team not give up. So that is your role in the future. I hope that you guys have some like some ideas or some energy from this slide. So that is a way of given that you keep on your positive thinking and also positive in your life. Yes. Okay. That is all for today. If you have no questions. All right. Again, are there any questions? We have a few minutes. This one is ครับ
so อยู่แล้วค่ะเราก็จะทำแบบ practice ด้วยใช่ไหมคะ
เมื่อไหร่นะครับ
ที่เป็น lab rotation ที่จะหลังบล็อกนี้อะค่ะ
not yet, because we gonna understand the CPB first. If you understand CPB well, it's gonna be help you to understand Ecmo. For the Ecmo part, I decide to you decide to program like a special session for you. You maybe have another outsource from the medical company to support that cost. So after the COVID situation allow us back to the campus, some weekend, sorry for my sunscreen screaming. So some weekend we gonna have a special sessions like a conference, like a workshop, because I need to compensate at the time that you lost from the COVID such suspensions like here. So it's not good for you. Okay.
โอเคค่ะอาจารย์
ทำไมเสียงมันดูแบบโฮปเลสจังเลยอ่ะบอกว่าบางเสาร์อาทิตย์เราอาจจะมี special session
ไม่ได้ hopeless ในเรื่องของ make up ค่ะอาจารย์ hopeless ในเรื่องที่ว่า อยากไปแบบ practice จริงๆแล้วอะค่ะอาจารย์
โอเค
จะได้แบบอะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะ
โอเคก็ลองดูแล้วก็ถ้าเกิดเราโอเคเรา stay safe เราก็จะมาเจอกันแบบ safe ถ้าเรา success ในโปรเจกต์แต่ละอันเราก็จะหาโปรเจกต์ที่มาร่วมได้ เพราะว่าถ้าเรา perform ใน on-site ที่มหาลัยไม่ได้เราก็ perform ที่บริษัทหรือเราอาจจะไป field trip บ้าง ไม่อยากพูดไว้ก่อนเพราะกลัวมันเป็นการให้ความหวังอันนี้เราจบแล้วเนาะเราจบไปนั้นแล้วเนาะไม่อยากพูดไว้ก่อนกลัวมันเป็นการให้ความหวังแต่ว่าคือเราไม่สามารถพิจิตรกับไอตัวโควิดได้หรอกตอนนี้มันมี third wave คือตอนนี้คนได้วัคซีนแต่หลังจากนี้อาจารย์พิจิตรว่าผมมาพิจิตรว่า 2-3 เดือนต่อจากนี้มันอาจจะมีเวฟอีกเวฟนึงอะไรเงี้ยเหมือนอย่างที่ยุโรปมีเหมือนอย่างที่อื่นมีแต่ว่ามันขึ้นอยู่กับว่าเขาจะมีมาตรการอะไรหลังจากนั้นนะครับก็ท้ายที่สุดแม้ว่าเราได้วัคซีนแล้วเราก็ต้อง protect ตัวเองอยู่โอเค alright that's it all for today and I hope you get some idea about Ecmo and hope you have a great day. No, okay.
Thank you
ครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
จะโอเคเดี๋ยวอาจารย์แชร์อีกเรื่องหนึ่งโอ้ไปกันแล้ว
หนูยังอยู่อาจารย์
โอเค
ยังอยู่
อันนี้
ค่ะ
อันนี้เอาออฟเรคคอร์ดแล้วเนาะเขาเลิกเรคคอร์ดยัง
เขายังเล็กพออยู่
ตั้ง
อา
แต่
จารย์ให้ผมเลิกรีคอร์ดเลยใช่ไหมครับ
เลิกเลยเราเลิกกันตั้งนานแล้ว
และ
กินข้าว